Amanda told me she'd be gone for 3 nights. Some corporate retreat in Portland, one of those sleek PR things they do to pretend they read, not just drinking wine and pretending to brainstorm. She packed light, 1 suitcase, plus her Navy laptop bag, the one she only uses when she's trying to look more important than she is. She did not say goodbye like usual. No lingering hug. No text me when you read bored. Just a glance at her phone. A distracted "see you Thursday" and the sound of the door clicking shut behind her. By the end of that same night, I knew I had to find out the truth. Something had been rotting under the surface for months. There was not one thing that gave it away. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. A new laugh she had started using on the phone, too soft, too private, that strange nervous energy she brought back from work, that shimmer in her eye like she was hiding a new hobby, the way her phone never left her side. Even when she was in the shower, the last time I touched her, she flinched like my hands were colder than they really were. But I did not react, not then. I played along. I made her coffee. I kissed her cheek. I told her to have fun. I had already decided I'd be staying home from work this week. That first night she was gone, I did not go to bed. Instead, I sat in the living room with my laptop and opened her iCloud on a whim. I knew the password. It was still my birthday. If that does not tell you how sloppy she was getting, I do not know what does. It loaded slowly. Almost like the universe was buying her a few more peaceful moments. Then everything came in at once. Messages, call logs, synced images. I scrolled. It was all there. She had changed the contact name in her phone, of course. Classic move. Melissa PR team. Cute. Only Melissa apparently loved sending her photos in silk robes, and calling her baby with 2 Ys. What hit harder were the audio messages. Amanda, whispering in that sugary voice I had not heard in weeks, saying things like, "I see and not wait until we do not have to sneak around anymore." I replayed it twice, not because I did not understand what I was hearing. I just needed to believe this was real. At 2:47 a.m., I forwarded everything to my email. At 3:22 a.m., I ordered a bottle of her favorite wine online and scheduled it to arrive the day she got back. The 4 a.m., I stopped shaking. 2 days passed. I did not text her. She did not notice. I tracked her location. Thank you? Find my iPhone. And she was not in Portland. She was in Napa. Fancy. She'd even posted a photo on her private story, just for her close friends. Of a cheese board and a wine flight. I was not in the list, obviously. But my best friend Kyle was. She must have forgotten she added him once when they were drunk. He sent me the screenshot without saying a word. I did not eat much the next day. I cleaned the entire house like I was possessed. Then I started gathering everything she ever gave me: anniversary gifts. The signed poster from our first concert. The dumb little ceramic turtle she made me paint on a couple's retreat in Santa Cruz. The shirt she wore the first night she stayed over. The one she always borrowed and never returned. I piled it all into the fireplace, one piece at a time. I did not light it yet. The night she was due back. I lit candles and dimmed the lights. I set the dinner table. I poured wine. I turned off my phone at exactly 7:42 p.m. Her car pulled into the driveway. When Amanda walked in, she looked tired, not exhausted, just too relaxed. Her hair was pulled back loosely, makeup a little smudged like she had not reapplied for the drive home. She opened the door, talking before she even looked up. "Babe, I swear if I have to sit through one more wine tasting where everyone pretends they know what tannins are," then her eyes landed on the fireplace. Her mouth opened. Her bag hit the floor. The flames were alive, wild, not out of control, but angry, bright, crackling with every memory she thought I'd cling to. The poster was curling into black. The turtle's shell cracked right down the middle. Her college sweatshirt shriveled into ash. She screamed, not like in the movies. No drama, chick sobby, just a sharp, ugly noise that did not know what it wanted to be. "What the hell are you doing?" I stood up slowly, walked toward her, and I said calmly, How is Melissa? She froze. Her pupils shrank like I just turned on a spotlight she was not ready for. You could hear the ticking of the clock in the kitchen between us. 3 seconds passed. For she laughed, the kind of laugh people use when they read choking on panic and trying to smother it with charm. Who? She said, blinking too fast. Jake, what the hell are you talking about? Melissa, I repeated, from the PR team. Napa was nice. Huh. The blood drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. She took a step back, then caught herself and tried to square her shoulders like she had some kind of upper hand. The fire behind me snapped, almost on cue. You went through my phone? She hissed, voice dropping half an octave. Are you serious right now? That's the moment I realized how deep her game ran. She was not going to cry. She was not going to beg. No, Amanda was going to stand there in our hallway and pretend I was the one who broke the rules. She was not shocked I found out. She was mad I had the audacity to uncover it. I saw everything I said and pulled out my phone. I opened the folder ID labeled liar, and turned the screen toward her. A photo of her in a hotel room mirror wearing a bathrobe that was not from any hotel ID ever booked us. A video of her clinking glasses with someone's arm just barely in the frame. A feminine hand with dark red nails and a watch ID seen in a different photo in bed draped over Amanda's bare shoulder. Screenshot of the CA not wait to taste you again message from Melissa. Timestamp 2 hours before Amanda told me she was going over strategy decks. I do not know what you think you saw. She started, voice shaking now, but not with guilt, with rage. But you've clearly been invading my privacy. Are you in love with her? I cut in that got her mouth opened, then closed, a half-lie stalled on her tongue. I do not owe you an answer to that. She said, that's not a no? She stared at me, eyes hard. You want the truth? Fine. She listens to me. She gets me. She does not sit around in sweatpants acting like she's waiting for life to happen. And yet you here, I said, gesturing around the house she once begged me to buy. Still married. Still lying. Why? What? Amanda? What's the end game? She looked away. Not ashamed. Calculating. I was not going to stay forever, she admitted. I just had not figured out how to leave without making a mess. You did not want to make a mess, I said, the laugh escaping my chest this time. So you lit a match behind my back instead. I thought saying it out loud would shatter me. I thought looking her in the eyes and watching her not flinch would ruin me. But it did not. It was weirdly clarifying, like watching someone remove a mask they'd worn for so long you forgot what their real face looked like. She walked past me, then straight toward the fire. For a second I thought she might try to salvage something. Grab some relic before the flames devoured it. But she did not. She just stared. "You're so dramatic," she muttered. "And you're a coward." She spun around then. "Excuse me? You heard me. I said you did not fall in love. You ran away. You lied because you liked being worshipped by two people at once. You did not want honesty, Amanda. You wanted options." Something cracked behind her eyes. She opened her mouth again. But I raised a hand. "I'm done. I've already called a lawyer. Do not bother coming back here tomorrow. I'll have your things packed." Her face twisted. Not in grief, but in pure offended pride. "You do not get to throw me out of my house. It's not yours anymore." And then she did something I did not expect. She smiled. This slow, cruel little smile that did not touch her eyes. "You think she wants you?" Amanda whispered. "You really think Melissa's going to play house with you once I'm out of the picture? You were boring when I met you. And you're boring now. That's why I left." She walked out after that. No apology. No plea. Just the click of her heels and the soft slam of the door. I stood there in front of the fire, watching what was left of our memories turn to ash. And for the first time in months, I felt still that I did not sleep that night. Not because I could not. I did not want to. The house was silent. A silence that used to feel comfortable between us when we were reading in separate rooms or falling asleep at different times. Now it felt like the aftershock of an explosion. Furniture still standing, but the foundation cracked. I sat on the edge of the bed we once shared and stared at the dent in the pillow where her head used to rest. The air still smelled faintly like her lavender shampoo. I opened the windows. Around 4 a.m. I started packing her things, not angrily, not frantically, methodically. I knew where everything was. Her drawers were obsessively organized. I filled 2 suitcases and a box, labeling them clothes, bathroom, desk. Every time I touched something of hers, I felt less attached. Even the hoodie I once stole from her side of the closet, the one I wore on lazy Sundays, the one I used to joke still smelled like her even after a wash. I folded it like it was a strangeress. At 6:30, I called off work for the week. At 7 o'clock, I emailed the lawyer again. By 8:15, I texted her mother. Yes, her mother. We were never close. She always said Amanda gets her attitude from me, sorry, and laugh like that was charming. But I wanted her to hear it from me before Amanda spun her version. I did not go into details. Just told her Amanda would not be living here anymore, that we were separating, and that she'd need a place to stay for a few days. She read the message and replied within minutes. She's not coming here. She made her choices. That told me everything I needed to know. By noon, Amanda still had not messaged, not even to ask where her stuff was, not to deny, not to rage, just radio silence. I figured she was regrouping, lining up her alibis, maybe even rewriting the story so she could tell herself I was the villain, that I had driven her to it. But then Kyle called. Kyle, my best friend since high school, the one who sent me the screenshot from her story. He did not even say hello when I picked up. Jake, you need to come over? I blinked. What's going on? He hesitated. It's about Amanda. I know everything already. No, he said quietly. You do not. 15 minutes later, I was knocking on his apartment door. He opened it fast, pulling me inside like we were avoiding snipers. He handed me his phone. Read. It was a string of DMs from Amanda, sent the night before, after she stormed out. All of them were to Kyle. You always liked me more than him. Did not you? You were always looking at me when he was not. He.S. pathetic. I bet you re not. I'm not staying at my mom's. What are you doing tonight? I stared at the messages, waiting for some hidden meaning to reveal itself. Some alternate explanation. But it was all right there. Laid out in her exact words. She's spiraling, Kyle said. I did not respond. I did not know if I should tell you. But after what you said, I had to. Thanks. I said numbly. I scrolled one more time. Then I hit the lock button and handed it back. I was not angry. Not in the way people expect you to be. There's a different kind of fury that builds when someone tries to ruin every piece of you. When betrayal becomes strategy, she was not heartbroken. She was not confused. She was not even in love with someone else. She was testing how far she could go before I broke completely. That night I texted her, your things are in the garage. Come get them by Friday. She replied instantly, can we talk first? I stared at the message for a long time. And then I sent her a single word. No. Friday came with the kind of gray indecisive weather that makes everything feel like it's waiting to happen. I spent the morning in the garage checking the boxes again, not because I thought I'd missed something, but because I needed to see it, all her things contained, categorized outside of my space. Out of the life, she hollowed out one lie at a time. I left the garage door unlocked. I was not going to be there when she came. I did not want the performance. I did not want her crocodile eyes and theatrical sighs. I did not want her trying on forgiveness like a dress she was never going to buy. At noon I went to Kyle's. He did not ask questions. Just handed me a beer and turned on some old sitcom reruns we'd watched in high school. The laugh tracks felt louder than usual. It was 3:11 p.m. when the camera notification buzzed my phone. Amanda had arrived. She was not alone. She brought someone with her, tall, broad, mid-30s maybe. A man. He waited in the car while she walked up a little too slowly, glancing around like she expected an ambush. She was wearing all black, like she was coming to mourn the she buried. She spent 6 minutes in the garage, did not even glance at the house. At 3:17 p.m., she loaded the last box into the trunk and turned to take one last look. Then she walked to the passenger side and got into his car. The second she was out of frame, I pulled out my phone and dialed the lawyer again. I want everything finalized by next week. No negotiations. He did not argue. The evidence ID handed him made that easy. By Saturday, Amanda sent another message. This one longer, rambling. You did not even want to hear me out. You think you know everything, but you do not. You were never present the way I needed. Maybe I made mistakes, but you left way before I did. At least I was honest about what I felt. Eventually, I read it twice. The second time more slowly, like maybe the words would transform into something human. They did not. I did not reply. On Monday, I came home to find something taped to the front door. An envelope. No return name. Just my name in her handwriting. Inside was a letter. 5 pages long. Lined paper. Scribbled. Messy. Like she wrote it all in one rush of desperation. It was not an apology. It was a manifesto. A manifesto of blame. How I did not challenge her. How I settled too soon. How I made her feel like a wife and not a woman. She listed every minor argument we ever had like she'd been saving them for ammunition. She claimed she never meant to hurt me, but also said I should have seen this coming. Said Melissa was an accident that kept happening. And that Kyle would not have hesitated if he was honest with himself. That last line. That was the part that made my hands go still. She wanted chaos. She was not content with cheating. She needed to throw matches on everything around her. If she could not win the game, she wanted to knock over the board. I walked inside, sat down at the kitchen table, reread the letter one last time. Then I lit a match. I watched every page curl in on itself, blacken and vanish into soft gray ash. She did not deserve to have her words outlive the truth. The following week passed like static. Nothing clear, just the constant buzz of what used to be. Amanda's absence was loud in the house, but not painful. It was like walking into a room that used to smell like fire, and now just smelled like burned air. There was no grief left. Just space. I changed the locks, deleted her number, blocked her on everything that mattered. It was not about revenge. It was about silence. She had filled my head for too long. Her lies had echoed in every hallway, touched every piece of furniture. She'd rewritten our history so many times. I needed a clean version, a final draft without her handwriting in the margins. By Thursday, I got a call from Melissa. It came from an unknown number, no voicemail, just one ring, and I picked up without thinking. I expected a scam. Instead, a woman's voice I'd never heard before said, "Jake." I did not answer. "This is Melissa." Still, I said nothing. I let the weight of her name hang there like smoke. I know you probably do not want to talk, and I would not blame you. But I needed you to know I did not know she was still with you. Not until last week. I did not say a word, but she kept talking fast, anxious. She told me you were separated. She said you'd moved out, that you were still figuring out paperwork. She showed me texts where she told you it was over. I believed her. I let that sink in. She was not apologizing to me. She was defending herself. Amanda had run the same game on her. Lies stacked on lies, creating two different realities at once and playing both like a violin. "She is sick, Jake," Melissa said, voice cracking. I ended it. "She does not know I'm calling you. She'd lose her mind if she did." I almost laughed at that. "She already did," I said finally, "and she wanted company." There was a long pause. "She told me I'd never be bored with her." Melissa whispered. She was right. I was never bored. I was constantly questioning my own sanity. Now I recognized the tone in her voice. It was not guilt. It was escape. The way someone talks after surviving a fire they helped start, but still ran from with burns on their hands. We hung up after a few minutes. Nothing more needed to be said. She was not my problem. She never had been, just another thread in Amanda's web. That night I got another letter. This time not in her handwriting, typed, printed neat, slid under my door like a threat that did not want to be opened. Inside were photos of me and Kyle, old photos from years ago, parties, vacations, nights we did not even remember existed. And on each one, Amanda had scribbled something. Did you ever love him more than me? Bet you wish you had. This is what you miss. Each photo marked with bitterness. As if she were trying to find one last place in my brain to poison. I stared at them for a long time, not because they hurt, but because she had nothing left to throw except nostalgia. She wanted me to feel like I was losing something irreplaceable. But all I saw were pictures of someone who did not exist anymore. A hollow mask that had finally cracked. I took a photo of the photos, texted them to my lawyer, and filed for a restraining order the next morning. And then I did something I had not done in months. I opened the windows, let the light in, and breathed like I was finally allowed to. The day the restraining order was approved, something strange happened. I laughed, not a bitter laugh, not the sarcastic kind you let out when everything is falling apart. A real chest-deep laugh. I was standing in line at the courthouse, paper still warm from the printer, and the woman at the desk said, "You all set?" With that overly formal voice. And it just hit me. This was it. The final wall, the last thread. I was untethered. Amanda could not come near me legally now. She could not show up with her sweet venom smirk and manipulations wrapped in silk. She could not knock on the door in the middle of the night pretending to cry. She could not drop off letters, could not send people in her place, could not get one more scene out of the story. She'd lost access to me. That same night I invited Kyle over. He brought a bottle of whiskey and a stupid board game we used to play when we were broke and pretending to frozen pizzas was a dinner party. We did not talk about Amanda. We did not need to. But as the night wore on and the glasses got lower, the conversation slipped to her anyway. "You know," she texted me again. He said, "New number," pretended to be someone else at first. Took me a full paragraph to realize it was her. I sighed. "She's not done." "No," he said, "I serious now. She's never going to be done. Not until she finds someone else to turn into a mirror." "What do you mean?" "She does not love people. She uses them to reflect what she wants to see. And when they stop doing that, she smashes the mirror and blames the glass." I sat with that for a while, let it stretch into the spaces Amanda used to fill. He was right. Every time I had stopped adoring her, even for a moment, when I disagreed, when I did not react how she wanted, when I simply existed without her, she punished me cold silence, backhanded jokes in front of friends, withholding affection and pretending I was imagining it. It was not love. It was control wrapped in charm. When Kyle left, he clapped my shoulder and said, "You're not broken, you know, sometimes I feel like I am. You're not." She just did not want a husband. She wanted a fan. I stood in the doorway after he left, staring at the empty driveway, and thought about how much quieter my life had become, not lonely, quiet, the kind of silence that lets you think, that gives you back your own voice. But the peace did not last. 2 days later, I got a call from Amanda's boss, her former boss. Apparently, Amanda had spiraled at work, missed a presentation, cursed out a client, got into a screaming match with one of her team leads, and then in some desperate attempt to regain control, she tried to blame me. She said you were stalking her. Her boss said carefully that you were sending messages from fake accounts. But when IT checked, all the IPs traced back to her own apartment. He was professional, calm, but there was an undercurrent in his voice. Embarrassment, disgust. "I just wanted you to be aware," he said, "in case she escalates." I thanked him, hung up, sat down. It was like watching a tornado touch down from a distance, and realizing it used to live in your house. I did not feel vindicated. I did not even feel safe. I just felt watched, like she was still in the room, even from miles away, like her chaos had a long reach. So I did the only thing I could. I started writing it all down. Every detail, every moment, every red flag I'd ignored, every truth I'd swallowed, every time I laughed at something that was not funny, because I thought it would keep the peace. Because if she was going to tell her story, I was going to tell mine. And I was not going to let her name be the only one remembered that it took me 6 hours to write the first draft. I sat at the dining table, hers technically, though I'd already scrubbed every trace of her off the surface. And I typed like I was possessed. No edits, no pauses, just pouring it all out in ugly raw strokes. It was not a letter. It was not a diary entry. It was a reckoning. I started from the not the cute storybook beginning where we fell in love over cheap sangria and pretended heartbreak was impossible. I started with the first time she lied about something small. The time she told me she was working late but came home tipsy with that cheap lipstick she swore she hated. I did not question it then. I believed her when she laughed it off. That moment was the real beginning. That S when she realized I would not push back. I wrote about how she chipped away at me over time. How she'd interrupt me mid-sentence at dinner parties. Not because she had something to say, just to remind me I was not the main character. How she rolled her eyes when I talked about things that excited me. How she'd reach for her phone mid-conversation like my words were not worth the battery life. How she kissed me only when she needed to shift blame or change the subject. By the time I was done, my fingers were stiff, my shoulders locked, but I felt lighter. I saved it as a document titled, "In Case I Forget." I never intended to publish it. It was not for anyone else. It was for me, a reminder, a map, so that if I ever felt tempted to romanticize any of it, I could pull it up and remember. A few days later, I saw her again, not in person, on a friend's story. She was at some party, expensive rooftop. Lots of curated smiles and champagne flutes. Amanda was center frame, laughing like nothing had ever touched her, dressed in white, hair perfect, surrounded by strangers. The caption read, "Our queen is back and better than ever." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because I finally understood. Amanda was not a person in pain. She was an actress who'd gotten too good at the role. She did not break down. She performed brokenness. She did not feel regret. She mimicked it until people clapped. I scrolled past the story, muted the account and never looked back. But the next morning, I got another message. This time from someone I did not know, a woman named Claire. She introduced herself cautiously, said she'd found me through a mutual acquaintance, someone I barely remembered. Then she dropped it. She was dating someone who used to date Amanda. And apparently Amanda had mentioned me a lot. She told him you were abusive. Claire wrote manipulative, that you controlled her, and that you got scary when she tried to leave. Something did not sit right. So I started asking questions. And I found you. The words felt unreal. She was rewriting the ending, twisting it to make herself the heroine who'd escape the villain. And worse, she was using me as her cautionary tale. That night, I could not sleep again. But not because I was angry. I was terrified, not for myself. For whoever was next, Amanda did not need to physically show up at my door. She'd found another way in through people, through whispers, through stories she knew I'd never hear firsthand. That S when I realized I had two choices. Let her control the narrative forever, or say something. I did not want revenge. I wanted truth. I wanted air. So I opened that document. And I started cleaning it up. The decision to go public was not dramatic. It did not come in a lightning strike or some cinematic montage where I typed through tears and hit upload with trembling hands. Now came quietly, like most real turning points do. I was making coffee, staring out the kitchen window, watching a neighbor walk their dog. And the thought landed in my head so plainly, I almost said it out loud. She is still writing the ending. And I'm just letting her. I did not owe her silence. I did not owe her protection. For months, no years. I had swallowed my discomfort, laughed off her cruelty, let her gaslight me into doubting my own memory. Even after the affair, even after the attempted smear campaign, even after she tried to twist Kyle into another pawn, ID stayed quiet. Maybe part of me still believed it was more dignified. Maybe part of me was scared she'd twist louder. But watching her from afar, realizing how far she was willing to go to erase accountability, to weaponize charm, to slip into news circles and sell them a story where she was the misunderstood hero, I knew if I did not say something, she'd never stop. So I said something. I posted the full story anonymously. Every red flag, every manipulation, every time I'd second my instincts because she smiled at just the right moment. I changed names, blurred details, but I made the core of it undeniable. I did not exaggerate. I did not dramatize. I just told the truth, stripped of her edits, spread fast, too fast, thousands of shares, comments pouring in from strangers, people saying it reminded them of their Amanda, people thanking me for giving shape to something they'd experienced but could not explain. Others asking if she'd contacted me since. A few trying to guess who she was. But the part that hit hardest, the messages from people who'd met her in the last few months. Women, men, colleagues, one even said she'd introduced herself as just coming out of a horrible toxic marriage. That she'd cried when she talked about me. Said I never let her breathe. Said I'd burned her clothes in a fit of rage and that she'd barely escaped. When I read that, my hands went cold. That was not just lies. That was preloaded deflection. She'd rewritten everything, turned my proof of betrayal into her evidence of being victimized. The truth did not matter to her. Only the version that won her the next round. But what she did not count on was that the people she was lying to now, they had Google, they had friends, and some of them found the post. 2 days later, she messaged me from a burner account. I almost did not open it. But curiosity got the better of me. It was not angry. It was mocking. So this is who you are now. Storytime victim with a fan base. You should have been a writer. Too bad your plot is so basic. And beneath that, the kicker, careful. People love villains. But they get bored of martyrs. I did not respond. I archived the message, flagged the account, closed the app, because I finally understood. She was never trying to hurt me just for pain's sake. She wanted control. Even now, especially now. And the most violent thing I could do to someone like her was not to hate her. It was to be indifferent. So I logged off, went outside, and let her fade. A week after I archived Amanda's last message, something unexpected happened. Silence. Not the kind that feels like waiting. Not the eerie quiet before a storm. Just nothing. No new numbers texting at 2 a.m. No whispered updates from mutuals. No screenshots of her next move. It was like the air finally cleared after a long, bitter winter. And for the first time in what felt like years, my mind was not looping her voice in the background like static. I could hear my own thoughts again. And then came the dream. I had not dreamed about her since it all started. But that night I did. In the dream, Amanda was back in the house, standing in the hallway barefoot, wearing one of those oversized sweaters she used to steal from my side of the closet. She looked normal, not angry, not sad. Just there. She walked past me like I did not exist. Moved around the furniture like a ghost that still thought she lived here. I tried to speak, but she just smiled that smile and said, "This was never yours." I woke up with a start covered in sweat, the kind of dream that does not vanish when the light hits it, the kind that stays lodged in your chest like a nail you forgot to pull out. But even then I did not feel fear. I felt closure because in that moment, I realized the house she meant was not mine. Because she never let it be this entire time. I'd been living in something she curated, a relationship full of invisible rules, affection with a price, loyalty on a leash. I was renting space in her fantasy. And the second I tried to own it, she packed up her lies and moved the show elsewhere. And what was left behind were not memories, were not regrets. It was me, still here, still standing, still building something. I spent the next few days making real changes, not symbolic ones, practical concrete steps. I deleted the last folder with her name on my laptop, tossed out the backup drive, even changed the damn Wi-Fi name from Jake Amandanet to New Era 88. Then I took a drive out of the city, just away, let the noise fade behind me, stopped at a roadside diner I'd never been to, ordered a coffee and a slice of cherry pie. I watched the waitress pour my cup and wondered if Amanda had ever once asked me how I liked my coffee in the 6 years we were together. I could not remember a time she had. The sun was setting behind the fields when I got back in my car. I rolled down the windows, played a playlist I had not touched in years, the kind of songs I used to love before I adjusted my taste to hers. The wind on my face felt like permission. And when I got home, I knew what I wanted to do next, not just heal, not just survive, but live without her voice in my head, without her shadow in my hallway, without that slow burning question of what did I do wrong, because I did not do anything wrong. I just finally stopped playing a game she never told me the rules to. And for the first time in a long time, the scoreboard did not matter. It has been 3 months now, 3 months since Amanda left, since the fireplace, the confrontation, the last message, 3 months of silence, of detoxing from a woman who did not just cheat. She infiltrated, she made herself the center of everything, then called it love. And when I stopped orbiting around her, she called it abandonment. But this is not a story about her anymore. This is about what came after the strange how long it takes to notice your own absence in a relationship. I do not mean physically. I mean, you, the actual you, your opinions, your instincts, your joy, your gut reactions. Amanda had a way of shrinking me so subtly that by the end, I could not even recognize my own voice in a room unless she echoed it back to me with approval. Now I hear it loud and clear. I've rebuilt, not dramatically, no cross-country move, no shaved head or spiritual retreat. Just slowly, intentionally, I replaced the couch she picked out, finally got rid of that massive uncomfortable statement piece she insisted made us look grown up. I hung new art on the walls, paintings that make me feel something. I planted herbs on the windowsill, started cooking again, not just heating things up in defeat. I even laughed last week. A real, stupid belly laugh when I spilled flour all over myself trying to make homemade biscuits. I did not stop to wonder how Amanda would have mocked me for it. Because I do not care anymore. I've also started writing more. Nothing serious, just thoughts, pieces of memory, things I used to enjoy before I made room for her ego to spread like mold through every corner of my time. People are reading my story now. Not because it is perfectly written, but because it is real. The lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, they recognize it. They've lived it. And maybe in some strange way, that is Amanda's only gift. She turned me into someone who can spot a narcissist from across the street, and warn others before they get pulled in. As for Amanda, I do not know where she is. I do not check. I do not need updates, whispers, new aliases, or you would not believe what she is doing now texts. Let her vanish into another story, another audience, another version of herself. I wish her nothing, not peace, not pain, just absence. She does not live here anymore. Not in this house, not in my head, not in the future I'm building. If you're rereading this, and your gut has been whispering to you about someone, listen, do not wait for proof in a screenshot or a broken promise. Your body knows what betrayal feels like long before your mind will accept it. Do not let anyone convince you that being confused is the same as being wrong. That drama is your fault. That your silence makes you noble while they burn the truth behind your back. You deserve peace without having to earn it. You deserve honesty without having to beg for it. You deserve to recognize yourself when you look in the mirror. I do now, and it is good to see him again.